In this video, I will be instructing you on how to factor quadratic trinomials where the a value is actually greater than 1 this time. So if you want, you can pause the video and copy what I have down here. So pause it now if you'd like to go ahead and copy this down instead of listening to me as I explain. So I would rather you do that, like write it down and then resume the video and I can explain and tell you what to fill in. So I'm going to move it up too so you can see the bottom. That way you can copy notes as well. These are our steps. So again, hit pause and copy at this time. And I will go ahead and get started, assuming that you have paused the video and copied all this down, okay? So again, factoring quadratic trinomials. Quadratic, again, these are trinomials that are going to be in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Again, we talked about vocabulary in the a equals 1 video, where I called this term the quadratic term. This term here, the linear term. And this term here, your constant term. So again, your linear term is your bx term, your constant term is your c, and your quadratic term is your ax squared term. So important terminology so that as I'm teaching this lesson, I'm not using math words that you don't understand. So similar to the quadratic trinomials where a equals 1, they are still going to factor into 2 binomial factors. So we're going to set up 2 sets of parentheses every time. Also, as a recap, signs will be dependent, signs in our factors will be dependent upon the signs we're giving in our problem. So as a recap, if our constant term is positive, then we copy, sorry about that, then we copy this term twice. So I'll put a plus plus if my constant's positive. It has nothing to do with the bx. It's just that if my constant's positive, I'll copy whatever that is. Same here. Again, if my constant's positive, I will copy what is here. So this will be a minus minus. If my last term is negative, the only way when we FOIL to get, remember to get our constant term, we do first, outer, inner, last. So when we multiply our last terms, in order to get a negative value here, we have to multiply a positive times a negative. So it doesn't matter if we have a positive then a negative, as in a positive linear term and negative constant, or a negative linear term and a negative constant. Regardless of this, if my constant is negative, I'll always have 1 positive and 1 negative. So that's important. We covered that in the last lesson, but just wanted to reiterate those points. So I'm going to be teaching you how to use these steps, but certainly if you need a verbal list, this can be helpful. So we're going to substitute into our binomial factors of our ax squared term. Remember, our ax squared term is these factors are going to go in as the first terms. So I would say here and here. That's what I mean by that. And then the factors of our constant will be the last terms in our binomial, meaning here and here. So just want to remind you of what I mean by that. Then we are going to be combining our inner and outer terms. So remember, first, outer, inner, last, as described here, is the process for multiplying 2 binomials. But that process is equally important when we are checking our work. So this is our outer and our inner terms. We're going to combine our outer and inner to see if we get our linear term, our bx term. And when it doesn't equal, then we'll switch it around. So this method is called trial and error. There are several other methods for factoring trinomials, but I have found in my 20 years of teaching that when students learn tricks, they tend to forget the tricks, and I'd rather teach you why we do what we do, because I find that when students understand the logic, they figure things out a lot faster because it's like a puzzle piece. So I enjoy these types of problems. And lastly, I just want to make sure you know that we can again verify our answer in our calculator, again using the Calculate 84 app if you have an iPhone, or your TI graphing calculator emulator on your Android phone. But again, we put our problem in Y1, our answer in Y2, and we check the table to see if Y1 and Y2 match. That's how we can use our calculator, or we can simply FOIL it out. So that first, outer, inner, last. We can multiply the two binomials to see if we get what we started with. So go ahead and flip your page. If you need to pause it at this time to write some problems down, you're welcome to do so. I am going to be factoring completely. These are instructions to factor completely these trinomials. So I'm going to do 4 different examples with you. Then I'm going to work out 6 problems from the Delta Math assignment. So recall real quickly from Delta Math that if you open up Delta Math, you're going to see that this quiz is still open today. This is due by midnight tonight, so please take care of that if you have not already. And then here, the first part of the lesson you already did, which was to watch this video on differences of squares and then complete these 9 problems. And then there will be a video after I finish this one in between 9 and 10. And then I am, of the 10 through 25, which is 15 problems, I'm actually working out 6 with you. And you will only have 9 to do on your own. But I will prompt you to do that in the notes. So I'll teach you how to do 2, and then I'll ask you to pause the video and try 3. I'll teach you how to do 2 more, and again, ask you to pause it and try. So please follow those instructions. That way you're building your comprehension as you go through this lesson. So the nice thing is, by the time you finish this video, you should have all the problems completed and be done with your assignment. So again, factoring completely. So we see 2x squared plus 13x plus 15. One thing to note is if you have a greatest common factor, you should factor that out. Here you do not, so we're going to continue with the first step, which is to write our 2 sets of parentheses to write our binomial factors. Next, I'm going to look to determine what my signs might be, because it actually helps me. If my constant's positive, again, I copy my sign of my linear term twice. And for the next step, your job will be to do step 1 in the notes here, which was to look at your factors of ax squared and put them in for your first terms, okay? So this is what I recommend that you do every single time. And I like using a different color, but certainly you don't have to. But what I want you to do is over here where we have 2x squared, I want you to write the 2 factors of the coefficient 2. If I have only a prime number, which means that my only factors are 1 in itself, then I know the only options I have here are 2x and 1x. But in terms of step 2, which is to take my factors of 15 and plug them in, I actually have 2 sets of options. I have 15 times 1 and 5 times 3. So my hint to you is to always use the set of factors that are closest together first. All right, closest together. So I am going to take my 2 and 1 and write terms of 2x and an understood 1x, because 2x times x is 2x squared. Now I'm going to take my 5 and 3 and plug them in. Now, it's important to me to use a pencil because trial and error means I'm going to try, and sometimes I'll make a mistake and need to switch some things around. So please make sure you're using a pencil. So I am first going to put the 5 here and nope, I'm going to switch that around. I'm going to put the 5 here and the 3 here, because again, I'm just trying it out. I might be wrong and have to switch it, but that's what I want to illustrate for you. So I'm going to take 5 and 3 and plug them in. Then I'm going to find my inner, which would be 5 times x, my outer, which would be 6x, and because they're both positive, I'm going to add them. Well, 5x plus 6x is 11x. That is not our goal. Our goal is to get 13. So when we don't get the 13 that we want, our options are, because 2x, the only possibilities are 2 and 1, I can switch the 5 and 3 around. So I'm going to put the 3 here and the 5 here, and see what I get this time. So now 3 times x is 3x. 2x times 5 is 10x. And when I add them, I get 13x. Yay! That means that this answer is correct. So if I were to FOIL these out, 2x times x is 2x squared. Then I would have 10x and 3x, which combine to give me 13x. And then 3 times 5 is 15. So yay, I'm done. And in fact, I can use my calculator again. I can go to y1 and type this in, the 2x squared plus 13x plus 15, just like we have in all the other videos. Oops. And then in y2, I can type my answer. And then look at my table to make sure that my y1s and y2s match. So at any point, if you feel like I'm going fast, you can pause the video, or you can go back and rewind at any time. So number 2, again, I have no GCF, so I'm going to come in here and write my factors. Now this time, my constant term is negative, so the only way I can get a negative for my 7 is to multiply a positive times a negative. So that drives my signs. Now, I'm going to go up here and do like I did before. 3x squared is a prime number, so that's 3 and 1. 7 is also prime, so it's 7 and 1. Now again, I'm going to use a pencil here. Now 3x squared, I could have 3x and x. Those are my only possibilities. Now 7 and 1, I have to figure out which is the better option. Do I want 7 here and 1 here? Well, let's see. If I do my inner and outer, 7 times x is 7x. 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. And when I combine a positive 7x minus 3x, that gives me 4x. So something doesn't look right. So I'm going to keep my 3 and 1 and just switch my 1 and 7. So I'm going to put a 1 here and a 7 here. So let's again do our inner and outer check. This gives me 1x. 3x times negative 7 is negative 21x. Positive 1 minus 21. So if in your calculator, if you want to, you can type in 1 minus 21. Some of you may be good at positive and negative numbers and just say negative 21 plus 1 is negative 20x. Oh, wow. I got the right number, but the wrong sign. When this happens, your job is to switch these signs. So I'm going to make this one the positive one and this one the negative one. Why? Because now negative 1 times x is negative x. 3x times 7 is positive 21. And negative 1 plus 21 is positive 20. So now this is right. Now I have known students that using a calculator, they like to do trial and error on their calculator, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to try this, let me teach you this method. Again, put your problem in y1. Again, at this time, I would love for you to pause the video, open the app on your phone, and try this with me. And let's say we did, well, I think it's 3x plus 1 and x, what I have originally, minus 7. So if that's what we had, which is what we originally had, when I go to my table, my y1s and y2s don't match. So now, what if I come over here and just switch these signs? So it's kind of like still doing the same method on paper, but using your calculator instead. Oh, now they match. So now that they match, I'm good to go. So again, this one is, we know, is our correct answer, but what if, again, I think originally I had plus 7 and then minus 1, right? That's what I originally had. So if I checked, it wouldn't match. Then I can just come down here and say, well, what if I switch the 1 and 7? Did that work? Nope, they don't match. What if I switch the signs? And now they match. So I just wanted to show you that this method that we're doing, if you're like, that's a little bit too much, you might want to just go to y equals and try your trial and error that way. But again, ultimately our goal is for our inner and outer terms to come out to equal this 20x. All right, so for number 3, I'm going to go ahead and put in my parentheses because those are a given. I know my signs. I'm going to use a pencil this time. I know one's positive and one's negative because it's a negative 21. And I'm going to list my possible factors here. For 4, I could use 4 and 1 or 2 and 2. Do you see how sometimes the color can help it stand out? So I hope you'll try using color. For 21, it's 21 times 1 or 7 times 3. So again, my recommendation is to always try the factors closest together first. So this 2 and 2 would result in 2x and 2x. We always put our x terms with our first terms in the binomial factor. And now for the 7 and 3, I don't know, I'll try it here and here. Now to be honest, when you start doing this and get better at it, your brain will start to do it for you, okay? Until then, just plug it into try and see what you get. So this right here gives us 14x. This right here gives us negative 6x. What is 14x minus 6x? That's 8x. Oh, that's positive 8x, but we want negative 8x. So if I get the right number but with the wrong sign, then I'm just going to take my signs and switch them around. So now I have negative 14x and plus 6x, which gives me the negative 8x that I'm looking for. So this is the work I'd want to see, guys. So can we use our calculator to just verify our work? Sure thing. Again, 4x squared minus 8x minus 21. Then 2x minus 7. And 2x plus 3. Second graph. They match. So that tells me my factors are correct. So please put a box around it. If you are still listening, beside number 3, put the year that you were born. What year were you born? I was born in 1978. I'm 42. All right, so next with number 4. Again, I don't see a GCF to factor out, so I'm just going to go ahead with my 2 binomial factors. None of the practice problems we're asking you to do right now, by the way, have GCFs that you factor out. So you'll just go straight to your parentheses. Again, we need to consider signs. I know that because my constant's positive, I copy this twice. So I'm going to be so confident I'm doing it in pen because I know it's minus minus. So with a different color, I'm listing my factors of 10. Now, are you going to need to do this as soon as you can go, oh, well, I know it's probably 5 and 2 because 5 and 2 are closer together than 10 and 1. Sure. I recommend until you get in the habit of that, this will become an automatic process very soon, the more you practice. But I highly suggest that you list your factors to start off, okay? So again, I'm going to try the sets of factors that are closest together. So I'm going to, in my first sets of parentheses, write 5x and 2x. And then I have 2 and 4. 2 and 4. Interesting. Let me tell you why I find it interesting. I already told you that we do not have a greatest common factor. So if I take my 2 and plug it in here, I'm going to have a GCF of 2. That's a no-no. I do not want to put a factor into a set of parentheses where it would create a GCF. So that wouldn't work out. Now, could I put the 2 here? Sure. But could I put the 4 here? Again, 2x and 4 have the factor of 2 in common. Well, I'm not feeling confident that it's 4 and 2 because it would create a GCF. So I'm going to plug in 8 and 1. So if I do my 8 here, now why would I not put the 8 here? If I put the 8 here, I would have a GCF. So as long as 1 is like odd and even, if you have an even factor, we should be good. So I'm going to put the 8 over here and the 1 here and see if it works out. So remember here, enter an outer check. Negative 8 times 2x is negative 16x. 5x times negative 1 is negative 5x. And together, those make, let me see, negative 21x. That's not what I'm looking for. Wow. Wow. When that happens and you're like, well, I've tried 2 and 4 and they didn't work, and I tried 8 and 1 and they don't work, that tells me I should go back and in the 5 to, I'm sorry, the 8 and 1, I apologize. I can just, did I do that right? 10x squared. Oh, that was minus 16x, sorry. Minus 11x. Minus 21x. Did I just write this wrong? I did. I apologize, guys. When I wrote this problem, it should have been negative 21. Please don't beat me up. I don't want to record the whole video because I messed that up. Please just write over that or erase that 3 and make that negative 21. So this actually is correct because I have the negative 21x. So again, always start off with your factors that are closest together, but if when you input your second set of factors, if it creates a GCF, either switch it or throw it out if it's going to create a GCF. So that's why we ended up choosing 8 and 1, and now this does work out. 5x times 2x is 10x squared. Inner is negative 16x. Outer, negative 5x, combined to give you our linear term, negative 21x. And then negative 8 times negative 1 is positive 8, so this is correct. And again, if you want to try using your calculator the way I suggested, you're welcome to do so. So this is 4 examples explained in kind of some great detail here, but let's go ahead and get to this delta math. And these will go quicker because we aren't making it complicated. So for number 10, 2 sets of parentheses. I know my signs are plus plus. My factors of 2 are 2 and 1. My factors of 2 here are 2 and 1. Now remember, you don't really have any other option other than 2 and x. And then 2 and 1 need to be substituted, but you never want to put a 2 into a factor where it would create a GCF. So if I put 2 over here, I'll have 2 in common. So I'm going to put the 2 here and the 1 here. So let's see if it works. Really, eventually I'll get to the point where you don't even have to show this step. You should be able to do it in your head. So this is 4x combined with 1x makes 5x, so this is correct. So I'll illustrate that here. Inner, outer, and it equals 5x, so I know this is correct. And this is number 10 in delta math. For number 11, start again with 2 sets of parentheses. If they're prime numbers, man, it makes the job so much easier. My signs again. My constant's positive, so I'm going to copy my linear sign twice. 5 and 1 make 5x and 1x. I don't need the understood 1. And then 2 and 1, I could put it either place and try it, but my goal is to get 11. So if you are starting to understand the process, you'll understand that you want the product of these two plus the product of this two to combine to give you the 11. So that would lead me to go, if I do the 2 here, that'll give me 10, and then I put the 1 there. And that gives me 1 to add to the 10 to get 11. So again, this is 1x plus 10x makes 11x, so this answer is correct. So you can start putting 2 and 1 here, but what's going to happen is you're not going to get 11. So your brain, once you teach your brain the process through repetition, it will help fill this in quicker. Please go ahead and pause the video at this time, enter these 2 answers for 10, 11, and try 12, 13, and 14 on your own. All right, now for 15 and 16, again, binomial factors. My signs, this time I have minus minus. For 2x squared, again, these are prime. 7 and 1 are the only factors of 7, and 2 and 1 are the only factors of 2. So your factors of your quadratic term are the first terms, again, in your binomial factors. The factors of your constant term go here. So are you able? Can you think about it? I'll be quiet a second. Which one should go where? If I put the 7 here and the 1 here, then I'm going to get negative 14 minus 1, which is negative 15. I want negative 9. So what if I put the 7 here and the 1 here? Negative 7x minus 2x, yay, gives me negative 9x. So I know this is correct. So 16, parentheses. My constant term's positive, so I'm going to copy this twice. For 2x squared, I've got 2 and 1, and for 25, I have 25 and 1 or 5 and 5. But Ms. Robinson said, try the set of factors closest together. So 2x and x. If I use 5 and 5, I have no other option but right here. Let's see if this works out. Negative 5x, negative 10x, negative 5 minus 10 is negative 15x. Yay. So this is correct. So go ahead and pause your video at this time to do 17, 18, and 19. And when you're through, resume the video so we can do some more problems. Two more problems to do, numbers 20 and 23, and then I'm going to ask you to pause. And after you finish 23 and then go back and do 24 and 25, you are done for the day. So next, 3x squared minus 2x minus 5. So I'm definitely going to use a pencil because if you remember, I said we're going to have a positive and a negative, but we might end up switching a sign. For 3x squared, I've got 3 and 1. For 5, I only have 5 and 1. So I'm going to try this out. I know I need to get negative 2. If I put a 5 here, then that's going to give me 15 and 1. And I don't like that option because I'm trying to get negative 2. So what if I put the 5 here and the 1 here? Well, now I have 5x minus 3x, which is 2x. Oh, but I wanted a negative 2x. So if I get the right number but the wrong sign, I'm just going to switch it around. Oops, I forgot to put a 1x there. I apologize. So again, 3x times x is 3x squared. And of course, we don't need this understood one. Negative 5x now plus 3x gives us negative 2x, which was our goal. So that means this is factored correctly. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and try 21 and 22. And next, 23. I think I've done enough color coding that maybe I can just go straight to pencil and you'll be good. Now this one, 6x squared, has multiple options. I've got 6 and 1 and 2 and 3. For 14, I've got 14 and 1 and 7 and 2. But you know Ms. Robinson said try the ones with the factors closest together. Some of you, as you get good at this, will find you might want to wait to put your sign in when they're opposites so that you don't have to erase like we did here. And that's perfectly fine as well. But note that if this is constant, this constant term is positive, please copy that and go ahead and put your sign so you won't mess up. So if I do 2x and 3x, I'll just put 2x and 3x. And 2 and 7. Well, Ms. Robinson said don't put a 2 here because it would create a GCF of 2. So that leads me to steer the 2 over here and the 7 here. Now again, if this is negative, I have to have a positive times a negative. So if I get this, multiply this number here and it's 21, then I want that to be the positive one. so that when I subtract 4, I get 17. So it takes a while for this to catch on really well, but once you do, man, you'll be like, man, this makes total sense. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. I've got 21x minus 4x, which gives me 17x. And then again, 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. So I am done. But certainly you can use your calculator. Again, I really like the idea of doing trial and error here at y equals. So again, you can type that in and then play with your signs here so that you don't get frustrated with erasing a lot, okay? But remember again, your goal is to go to the table and your y1s and y2s match. All right, so pause this video and do 24 and 25, and then you are done with your assignment. If you are still listening, at the bottom of your page, put your dream destination. Your dream destination for a vacation. As in, if I want to go on vacation, I'd want to go to Australia. So write Australia if that's Australia, or wherever it is you would like to one day visit. Good luck with your assignment. Let us know if you need help.